With the greenhouse completed and the equipments of climate control installed, we can look for planning the greenhouse interior. The greenhouse interior includes two very important items: plant benches and tools. Properly planned storage and sturdy, well-placed benches can make our greenhouse gardening much more enjoyable, easier, and fruitful.
Greenhouse benches are table-like structures placed around the interior perimeter of the house at about counter height. They are used to hold plants, propagating trays, and seed flats. If there is room, another bench can be placed in the center of the greenhouse. Bench tops are usually constructed with regularly spaced openings that allow air to circulate freely around the plants and their containers. The benches are usually made of wood, metal, slats, or lath, and are arranged in such a fashion that it is convenient for the gardener to reach any corner of the greenhouse. Some benches are built in steps. Each step is wide enough to hold a row of plants. The next step, about 8 inches higher, holds another row of plants. This is an efficient way to save space. The benches are generally movable. This is convenient in making changes according to the needs of the gardener. Movable benches are easier to handle, particularly for repairing and cleaning the greenhouse. In a permanent greenhouse, we have platforms of cement and bricks. There is usually a path in the middle of the greenhouse, and the benches or platforms are placed on either side. Very frequently, we can see hanging baskets in a greenhouse. These are handy, movable, and beautiful. Hanging baskets are useful for growing smaller plants. The greenhouse benches and platforms should be strong enough to hold all the plants that we wish to grow. There should be adequate posts to hold the benches securely. A periodic check of these posts and benches is desirable to discover signs of decay or structural weaknesses. If the gardener is interested in using space under the benches for growing plants, then he should protect these plants from excess water dripping from the benches above. Like any other type of gardening, greenhouse gardening requires special tools, plant containers, potting mixes, fertilizers, and so forth. The basic shed for growing flowers, vegetables, and herbs should contain equipments like a fork for digging perennials and other large plants, as well as for breaking up clumps of soil, a hoe for weeding, rakes to level the beds, shovels for planting and moving soil, mulch, fertilizers, and so on, a spade for digging, mixing soil, and working in soil conditioners and fertilizers, trowel for planting or digging small plants. a sprayer to apply pesticides and fungicides, a knife for harvesting and for removing snags from pruned woods and stem, hedge clippers to trim hedges and soft-stemmed plants, grass shears to trim the lawn around beds, borders, sidewalks and fences, a string trimmer, that's a power trimmer to replace grass shears. These equipments should be handy. There should be adequate storage space either within the greenhouse itself or in an adjacent area. Garden tools and other small items can be hung on hooks on a pegboard. The pesticides, fertilizers and other chemicals should be kept tightly sealed in a closed cabinet for safety. These chemicals should be clearly labeled.
Now we have a greenhouse which is well designed and properly constructed. We have adequate equipments of climate control. Also, we have furnished our greenhouse with proper quality tools and provided a proper store for them. But we cannot make use of greenhouse efficiently unless and until we are trained in the skills of greenhouse gardening. The next part of the series will bring you detailed information about greenhouse gardening skills.